Okay, so it is just about 9:10 after 7. Welcome everybody to our Thursday night art teachers art club. This is becoming one of my favorite things to do. And tonight we have Ms. Dawn Hoffman from Pennsylvania.
Yep,
right?
Central Pennsylvania.
And she will be sharing the repoussé. Did I say that right?
I believe so. That's how I would say it. Yes.
Okay. Or the foil relief project with us today. I'm going to hand it over to her and I'll spotlight you for everybody.
Okay.
You can introduce yourself, give us a little background if you like, and then go into your presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you. Hi, welcome everybody. I'm very excited to be here with you guys today. I'm thrilled that there's about 30 people. I'm really surprised that there were going to be that many people here to just see me do a nice little lesson, but
we have 10 with us now.
That's
everybody else pops in.
That's okay. Okay. So my name again is Dawn Hoffman. This is my 26th year of teaching. And as I was telling them earlier, I started in this district. I started teaching in the elementary school. And then just about 5 years ago, they added middle school to my assignment. So now I teach kindergarten to 8th grade in Millersburg School District, which is one of the smallest districts in Dauphin County here in Pennsylvania. I'm not sure what other kind of background information you need from me. We were completely in person at school all year long, and we're done. We were officially done yesterday. Today was my first day of break, but I had to haul my kids back and forth because today is their official last day of school. So we're gonna just start our official summer break now tomorrow. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of time to relax and unwind, because like we were talking about earlier, it has been like the longest school year ever.
Yes. Sure.
Definitely.
So what you teach elementary, you said, and what kinds of projects are your favorites to do with the kids?
I try to do a little bit of everything. I don't necessarily follow like elements and principles or a specific method. What I like to do for my kids is I like to get all the materials in every year. So in kindergarten, I'll make sure that we learn how to paint in some manner, and then we'll do some drawing, and then we'll do something with fibers, which usually ends up just being like a wrapping project. But then as they go on different school years, they'll learn a little bit more. So if we're talking about a fibers project, in first grade, they'll learn how to do paper weaving. And then when in second grade shows up, then they'll do like a circle weaving with actual yarn. And I try to build on it all the way up through so that when they get to the middle school, I can say, okay, you know how to do this, this, and this. Here's the material. What are you going to make with it? Or how are you going to deal with it? So I'll give like an 8th grade lesson where I say, you're going to make a ceramic box. Go. And then I just give them the clay and they start, because all those years of building on what they've learned how to do with clay, they know how to slip and score, and they know how to make a slab, and they know how to coil pot. Then they pick out their favorite thing, and that's how I build my curriculum. I think teaching from K to 8 is great in that way, because I can really build on what they've learned. But then, I start to sound a little bit like Charlie Brown's teacher, because they know me forever. And they're just like, yeah, I know. I enjoy it. I have a lot of fun with it, but I guess where the kids are involved, sometimes they get tired of seeing me.
That happens.
Yeah. I'm a comfort for some, and for others, they're like, oh God, not her again.
Yeah.
But that's okay. I don't mind.
Wow. Great. So the supplies that we needed, I don't know how many of you guys are working along with us.
Oh, that'd be great.
Yeah. So we should have what with us?
I have some cardboard. I have some mat board, and I have some cereal boxes that we can use for the cutting part. Now, the whole plan for this evening was supposed to be, I was going to have an iPad sitting on that end and then my phone showing the table, but I can't seem to get that working. So I'm just going to carry you guys over here to show you the table right away. You know, technology works best when it works, which it never works when you need it to work. We've all learned that from this year too, right?
Absolutely.
So this is one of our finished projects. I think this was probably done by a 7th grader, but we can adapt this one to, I think you could do this all the way down 3rd or 4th grade, as long as they get the idea of how to color it without, you know, piercing into the foil. But for tonight, you've got some cardboard and some mat board, and then the snack boxes are easier to cut into. So that'd be the best thing to do. Are you ready? Should we just start right away? Oh, and we're going to need some aluminum foil, some white all-purpose glue, and then some scissors and something to color with. So I've got some markers hiding here, and I've also got some yarn for a different option for us for when we're working.
Okay. So how would you present this lesson to the class before diving in, or is this something you would have scaffolded prior?
We like to talk about sculpture a little bit. You know, most of the time kids think of sculpture and they think of clay when they're building something larger. I don't do a lot of reduction sculpture where they're carving into something. That's something that the high school teacher does take care of. So I kind of consider that something in his department. But we do talk a little bit about Louise Nevelson and some of her sculptures, how they're a little contained in a box. And so I kind of tied this one into that, how we're going to do a relief, which means something that's pretty flat, but we're going to build up the surface a bit so that it's something interesting to look at. So we're going to make a design. And, you know, I can kind of see this lesson as something that might go well if you're working on like a medieval lesson in social studies. You could tie this into making the medieval shields, or you could do a milagro kind of lesson, which is more of a Hispanic cultural lesson. But these are all kinds of things that you can do with this, as opposed to just making a fancy design. It depends on how much time you have to put into it.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
What in the world?
That's not coming from my world.
That's strange. Oh, that's an emergency warning, isn't it?
Yeah. Yes, it was. Are you having bad weather your way?
Yeah, but it wasn't me.
Somebody on there.
It's okay.
Somebody out there in TV land is having some problems. Okay. So if we just jump right into the lesson, there are a couple of different ways that you can attack this, I suppose is a nice way of putting it. If your kids if they're at home, you know, telling them to go find extra snack boxes or extra pieces of, I don't know, they just have a cardboard box somewhere that they can use for a base. That might be something that they can get ahead of time. For me, I usually have all the pieces of cardboard pre-cut. I like to use a thick piece of cardboard for the base, because when we add the glue layer, it will curl up a little bit if you use anything too thin. So while it might be tempting to use just a piece of mat board for the base, it really will curve, and it doesn't keep a nice flat surface for the kids that they tend to be bothered by that. If you've got kids that are not so great at cutting and you want to adapt this to a smaller group of students, then you can probably pre-cut some shapes for them if you're in the classroom, of course. I don't tend to do that. I tend to let them do whatever kind of cutting that they would like to do to make their design. So I've got some little examples here that we've started. I cut out a bunch of different shapes here, and I'm just going to attach them in whatever way that I think is interesting. When the kids are working on it, I like to tell them, you want to make it so that there's a little bit of space in between each shape, because if you put them too close together, then we don't have those nice little grooves for when we have the final project. We want to be able to color in between the sections, so we leave a little bit of space in between your pieces of cardboard. Now, a lot of times they want to do a lot of layering. So sometimes you have to tell them, yeah, no more than about 3 layers, because it can get a little too high and it will be a little difficult for the foil to cover everything. But as you can see, I'm just kind of gluing everything in place here. I've cut some wavy bits out of this snack box, and then I have a couple pieces of mat board on the bottom. For my classes, I have 45-minute long lessons. So usually it takes my kids one class period to cut and get everything glued in place. And then we put it aside until the next week. So it's a 6-day cycle. So the next time I see them is usually, I don't know, 6 to 8 days away. So, but everything is pretty dry by the time they come back. And that means that we can apply the foil without having anything move around. So once you get your design set and everything is attached, then it's the time that everyone loves. And this is the part that every kid in the history of kids has been looking forward to, because you get to spread your glue over the entire thing, just what they've always been trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not careful, they will put the entire bottle out, because I do tell them to go heavy, but they will try to put the entire bottle, because like I said, they love this part.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know why it is, but every time I tell them, just take your finger and spread it around, they always say, ew. But they do this when I don't want them to. They'll spread it in their hand to peel it off. So why, when I ask them to spread it around, do they make a face? I'm not really sure.
Because it wasn't their idea.
Because it was, yeah, probably. So I like to spread it all nice and evenly, trying to get it in between all the grooves and around the edges. And once you get it nice and evenly spread, then you're going to take a piece of your tin foil. Now, sometimes the kids crumple this up ahead of time. And so that can make some interesting effects. You just have to be careful that it doesn't tear once you've crumpled it up. And then when you uncrumple it, then you can put it right back down onto your project. And this is the part that takes the most time. You're going to burnish it into the surface. The more you press and smush it into those little cracks and grooves, the more you're going to see your design show up. So this takes a little bit of time. I'm going to try not to shake the table.
Does it need to be heavy duty aluminum foil or tin foil or any kind?
You could probably get away with any kind. You'd have to know your kids. For the middle school, when you're teaching them to be a little bit more careful, then the regular, just Reynolds wrap aluminum foil will be fine. I believe this is heavy duty. Nope, this isn't. This is just plain old. This is just plain old ordinary 1-ply aluminum foil. I think this is the only thing you'd really have to go out and purchase, unless you have a stash on hand in your classroom. Sometimes you get these things that are left behind and you're not really sure what they're for. Mm-hmm. I had several boxes of aluminum foil in my room. So that's kind of where this lesson came from. I was trying to figure out what to do with all that foil. I'm not sure you can see. Let's see how well that's showing up for you. Can you see how we're starting to see the design underneath there?
Mm-hmm.
And I will flip it over and pull the foil to the other side. Now, if you don't have cardboard and if you don't have mat board, there's also a way to do this using just twine or yarn or other leftover materials. And I have a couple of those examples to show you too. For the one that I showed you originally, this was a piece of cardboard in the center. And then he took this extra piece of string and wound it around and created kind of an interesting design that way.
And that
so it doesn't have
also.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be just cardboard and foil. Okay. Here's one that's a little flatter that we might be able to see better. For finishing these, there are a couple of options for that as well. I like to just take a Sharpie marker and the kids just start coloring in the spaces in between the designs. It really does create a nice, interesting jewel tone effect. But if they have not been careful and pushed things into the cracks of those cardboard pieces underneath, then they might get a little bit of tearing, especially if your Sharpies are pretty sharp, like this one has a nice point. But if you're doing this at the end of the school year, then most of the time the Sharpies are nice and flat and they don't really pierce into that so well. There's another option for coloring this. I also tried to do one where I actually took some acrylic paint and I brushed a thin coat of acrylic paint over top of this. And then I took another piece of paper toweling, or you can even take another crumpled piece of foil here, and you can burnish the top of that to make the acrylic paint go away. And that's how we left with the black designs in here. This shield kind of reminds me of something like a medieval design, but you have to be kind of careful because there I just tore that aluminum foil a little bit. So there we go. So those are your two options for coloring. Let me show you a couple more examples that my kids were working on. It doesn't have to be too complicated. You can make something just as simple as a wave, or I don't know, this is some Star Wars thing. What is this? I'm not sure.
I'm not
Maybe
sure.
it's not Star Wars.
I
I don't know.
thought it was like a Deadpool.
I'm not sure.
No.
It was interesting at any rate.
Yeah.
So if you want to take this a little farther and you have kids that finish early, there's another thing that you can do with this project. I've had kids already that they did their design and then we added it to a piece of white paper, and then they had to continue the design onto the paper using more of the coloring. So you could create, you could do like a Zen tangle kind of deal where they're filling up the rest of the space to try and extend that pattern, or you could have them color it, whatever you think, your kids best, whatever you think that would get them a little bit more enrichment in a lesson.
Really cool. I could see doing this as like an illuminated letter.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
Yeah, with a border, that they have to design and the letter that they have to draw, and that would be really cool. Like a crest, like you said, a crest or a shield also kind of a thing.
Or even designing a frame, like making a frame for one of their other artworks.
Oh, that would be great too. Yeah, because you could easily wrap the foil out of just the square. That would be interesting. I like that idea.
I like the idea with the black acrylic, and then you could go in because that makes it look really antique-y kind of. Like
and they really dig that kind of stuff. Anything that makes it look old. And then you could take that and have a writing assignment. Like, let's say they had to make a crest and then they had to tell you why the symbols were on the crest that they made. Something, completely made up, but that could be another extension of the project just to make it a little bit more than just the art.
We lost your video, Dawn.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Let's see. There we are. Now we're back.
That might also look cool with the aging and then add some color on top of that as well.
Yeah, could.
That's pretty neat.
So yeah, that's my little lesson. I don't know why this lesson has popped up so many times on my YouTube channel, but this one has the most views of just about anything I've made so far. So
wow,
it must just be a popular thing for people to want to know how to do.
It's much simpler than it looks.
Yep, absolutely. And that's the kind of stuff that we love. It has to be simple, but the kids can really take it and run with it. I mean, I don't think art has to be so complicated that no one can do it. I think if you make it simple for the kids, then they learn more because they're like, oh, well, I could do this. Oh, can I do this? And then they just take it and run with it. And I like that best.
It's beautiful. And it could also be a really cool, like a tile project. Have every kid make one and then put them all together as a mosaic kind of a thing.
Oh yeah, that would be very, very interesting to see coming down the hallway. It would be very colorful.
Yeah. And it would tick off the group project, box in your required curriculum of stuff.
Yep. In the national standards.
Yeah, exactly.
That
personally,
could be cool.
I hate group projects. I've always been one to just do my own thing because nobody else is gonna, they don't do it like I want it done.
Exactly.
So,
here's the yarn one. I also did a yarn example so you can see. You just kind of spread the layer of glue on there first and then add your yarn. And I don't know about you guys, but I do have a donation box every year where I end up with more yarn when I finish the year than when I started the year, because everybody's grandmother brings all the yarn examples in. I even had the local nursing home came with a huge bin of these, little round balls where they just must have been leftover pieces of a project. So I ended up with tons of yarn. Yeah, but that could also be something that you use for this.
And I have an annual yarn monster because, of course, it gets all knotted no matter what you try to do. It's like a giant thing that comes alive.
Yep.
Shelly left. She's got the bad weather. Okay.
Well, we were supposed to get that, but I haven't seen it yet today. So I got kind of lucky.
Wow. So this is fun. There's a lot of extensions you could do to this.
Absolutely. And like I said, if you have kids that are not great at cutting, you want to make those adaptations for lower level learners, then having things pre-cut ahead of time would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I've even seen people use those the stick-on tile things for your floor where you peel up the sticky part and then they can just lay the pieces of things down onto the adhesive of that tile.
Oh, you just reminded me what might work also, the sticky foam.
Oh, I've not seen that.
The foam sheets that come pre adhesive, it's a peel and stick foam sheet. So if you cut your shapes out of the foam,
Oh, that would be
do that.
perfect. Then you could put that
Yeah,
right on.
you could totally do
Even
it
better.
without, yep. That would work too. And you'd have a lot thicker layers also.
Yep.
That's really neat. See,
That's-
this is
that's-
why I love this, because somebody comes in with their project and then everybody, based on all of our own experiences and the age groups of our kids, everybody, how do we take this to a different place or a different level, or how do we, hit this benchmark that we need to hit, or tie it into this content area or whatever. So we all give each other really good ideas.
And that's why these groups are so important, because I don't know about you guys, but there's only 2 art teachers in my entire district. And we share a classroom in the middle school. So we do talk, but it's not the same as being within a group of people who teach the same level as you do. It's not,
Right.
it's not the same to be in a group of people who are teaching all different levels, but the same subject. You have to do, you have to have people who have similar experiences. That's what makes this so awesome that you guys are doing this group. This is a great idea.
Thank you. It's been wonderful, especially this year when we've all needed a little bit of sanity to hold on to, and
No kidding.
different ways to think outside of our normal box. We've had to be very creative and innovative this year and come up with new ways of doing things. So this has been a really good thing.
Yeah, this year has been crazy. I don't know if anybody has any other questions for me, but that was all for my lesson. It's very short. I feel like it was very short.
Yeah. We usually go for an hour and a half.
Oh, my apologies.
No, that's okay.
I have one question. Besides
Sure.
Sharpies or besides acrylic paint, are there other ways of adding color? Or is
I
you find
have
only
not
Sharpies?
tried anything other than Sharpies. So, I mean, I think you need that permanent ink to get it to stick. I think if you tried to paint it with watercolor or something like that, I don't know if it would stick to the aluminum foil. I mean, it's worth a shot to try it.
It would bubble. It would bubble and probably just
I
bleed
want to
above.
chime in. Hi,
Yeah.
I want to chime in. Hi. I did this project years ago when I first started working in the DOE, and actually it was very successful. But I did it much harder. I probably, looking back on it, I think I probably made it very difficult for the kids, because all we did was we just used glue. So it was one of the first projects I did when I
Oh,
started.
you built up the layers with the glue.
Layers of glue. And we were focusing on the lines and shapes and the negative space and so forth. And then the kids did use, we used the back of an eraser to kind of like what you were doing, trying to, really, make the embossings come forward. And
Right.
and also we used steel wool to kind of like, roughen
burnish
the
it.
surface. Yeah, to roughen the surface. And then we used, I think I ran out of acrylic paint, but we were using black acrylic, and then we were using some Sumi ink. And then we would wipe it off. And we
Did the
wiped
ink
it off.
stick?
Yeah. I if I could take a picture, I could upload one, because I did one maybe about 3 years ago on a canvas board. And it was just something I wanted to do, but it was a lot of work. And I'm looking at the way you did it. It is definitely an easier process and probably more student friendly, I think, than the way that I did it.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big thing for us. Since we are so small, I have to think of ways that I can cut corners, because, I maybe in all total have $1.75 that I can spend each year for my budget for the kids.
Glue is expensive, yes.
Yeah. Oh, and that year that the special ed people decided that they were going to make slime, I almost lost my mind, because I'm the only one in the district that orders by the gallon of glue. So I went to the supply lady right away, and I'm like, you got to give me all that glue, because there's no way they're going to use all the glue I ordered for slime. Bring that over to my room. So I had like 6 gallons of glue in my room. But yeah, you're right. It can be expensive, especially if you get, like not so good name brand glue and it
Right.
just doesn't work for you. You're stuck then.
Yeah, I mean, it was very successful. I liked it. And we also, and some students, they also use different colored paint, acrylic paint, and it was really, really successful, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. I like the idea of using different colored paint too.
Yeah. So thank you for showing me
No
the
problem.
other way.
This kind of reminds me of, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago, I had gone to a workshop for cloisonne, and I was very intrigued. And I came home and it was not a workshop per se, it was a museum visit to look at cloisonne. And I came home wondering, how can we do this on the cheap? I mean, it's done with wire, it's done with like glass that they melt or whatever it is, or enamel or whatever, to fill inside all of the little wired spaces. And I kept trying to figure out how to do it, and I couldn't get to a place where it was cost effective enough to try, like even with one class, like, because
Yeah.
even if we did, we had the pliers to bend the wire, and then you glue the wire. And then I thought, well, if we watered down like mixed acrylic paint with glue, that would give it that shiny, if you puddle it in between all the spaces, when it dries, it'll look like that enamel-y kind of coloring. But it just didn't, it bled and it didn't work really well. And I'm like, this kind of reminds me of that, but in another direction. And I'm still trying to figure out how I can do the cloisonne technique, to figure out. If anybody comes up with something, just
We'll let you know.
let me know, or something similar, or but I fell in love with that. And it's, when you watch videos of how these things are done, I don't know about you guys, but it can be extremely I don't even know the word, like meditative, to watch the process of all of these things, and fascinating to see how these things are done. I had art club with my kids this week, and one of the girls came in and she didn't want to do anything. She just wanted to watch me paint on my document camera. She's like, it's so satisfying watching you paint.
They do that. They watch people mix paint on YouTube. Like, I feel like that's what I need to do for my retirement job. I'm just gonna make little puddles of paint and film myself and just, I don't know, be a YouTube millionaire or whatever they're doing.
Oh,
they love that. I don't understand that.
I don't either. I know. They'd rather watch than dive in and get their hands dirty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
I don't know either.
But then I always get the question, well, what did they do with all that paint? Well, I say, I hope they paint something with it. I mean, otherwise it's just waste.
And now the whole paint pouring phenomenon is, if I see another poured paint video, I think I'm going to scream.
Some of those look really cool, but I just cannot justify the amount of paint that is wasted in that.
No.
With everything that puddles on the table afterwards, it just hurts my heart.
Unless you stack it, like the champagne glasses, put one on top and all the other canvases underneath it, so you could catch all the paint as it falls down.
I would be the one to make something that looks like brown mud, so it would just be terrible. Why'd I waste all that paint on that? Yeah, no, that's another thing that kids like to watch. It does look cool, but I just can't do it.
I hate to say this, and maybe I'm wrong, but to me, it doesn't look like it takes a whole lot of skill to do that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know how would you teach it in a class and justify it?
Yeah, it is creative. It's a way. Now, okay, that being said, at the end of the year, when I'm left with those little solo cups full of all the paint that the kids have mixed during the year, I take that myself and I splat it down on a canvas. I don't know if you can see this. I'll show you the other end of my unfinished studio here. But those 3 canvases on the bottom, that was all the unfinished paint that we had left. I just blob it on a used canvas that somebody has left behind. So, I mean, as far as that goes, that's one way of using the leftover paint. But I couldn't just say, I'm just going to make one of those canvases just with what paint I have here because I feel like that's kind of wasteful, at least for in my situation, because resources are a little slim sometimes.
Definitely. Definitely. Does anyone have anything else to share or tell us or?
Just to jump on of what to do with those leftover cups of paint or whatnot is a lot of time I'll take paper, especially if it's scrap paper or paper, the kids like, oh, it's bent, I don't want to use it. And I'll just at the end of the year paint that up, but then I'll add that to the box so that like there's a box. I just have paper for reuse, but then when you're doing collages and stuff, you have painted papers. And they're not as fancy as say paste papers, but if you just take all of those paints and kind of, put them on like, and you can just kind of do it or get some kids to do it, which is also fun. You're like, just paint up these papers. It doesn't have to be anything. You're just putting color on it and let them dry. It's like another way of repurposing where you're kind of repurposing the paper and the leftover paint, and then you have a stop for the
Like
next
Eric
year.
Carl.
Yeah, absolutely. I was just
Exactly.
gonna say that.
Oh, Eric Carl.
I
Oh, was anything else? I found out as I got on the subway, I was reading the news in the morning and I like literally cried on the subway. Like,
Yeah.
I got teary.
Yes, he's a national treasure. And the same week, the other artist, the other author from Chickaboom, the illustrator for all the Chickaboom books, she passed away as well the same week. Well. I see, Tracy, you tried to send.
Yeah, it's not the
download.
best photo, but that's kind of what I did.
Let's see.
I probably should have made it higher resolution.
Oh, Dawn bounced out. Let me see. I don't know if it might be on my desktop, if I can see it. There it is.
Sorry, I got some weather issues going on here, I think.
Oh, you too. Oh, here's the one. Yeah, I could share my screen and you guys could see what Tracy just shared. If I can access my screen. Yes, here we go. There we go. Can you guys see that? This is what Tracy just shared.
That's
Oh,
gorgeous.
that's awesome.
Is that the glue?
Yes, that's the glue.
Wow.
It was like
that's
a lot of
great idea.
layers. It was a lot of layers. Yeah.
Yeah. But
So
it's the same idea. I like that.
Yeah.
Did you paint the glue or is that foil over the glue?
It was foil over the glue. I started out with a canvas. I think the canvas is about, 18 by 24, I believe.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's really beautiful.
Yeah,
I like
It's taking you forever to burn.
It did. It took me a while because I was working on this project for a while. I finally finished it like last year, but I would start it and I wouldn't go back to it. You never,
Right.
you never have time. So I finally,
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, it's like actually it's like my family, it's my immediate family, it's all of my parents are deceased. So I have my parents' names in it and also all of my siblings' initials. We all have, first, middle, and last name.
That's a good idea.
So
I
I
love
just
it.
did that. So
It
it's all
looks like
about that.
some iron from antiquities.
Yeah, I like that metallic look, like the antique look.
I love that.
Yeah, but that's what I had my kids do years ago, but it was much smaller. But I like what she showed tonight, so that's an easier way of doing it.
I'm all about trying to make it as easy as possible.
Yes.
It doesn't, I don't feel like it has to be as complicated as some people make things out to be, you know what I mean?
No, definitely. I like what you did, so I appreciate you sharing that.
Well, thank
All right,
you
now
so
I think
much.
I can get this stable here. I'm trying to keep you away from the other side of my mess of a basement there.
We're not judgy. It's okay. No problem.
So if you have a chance, I know I sent a lesson plan with the information that I sent to you. So if you want to forward that to everybody, that'd be great. Then you have all the materials. And I think I actually tagged on the national core standards so that they'll be on there too. They can just pull that and put that right in their curriculum.
I think what I'll do once I post this video, probably by Saturday, I will send out another mass email to let everybody know, and I will tack on your lesson plan that you sent.
Oh, great. That'd be wonderful. Thank you.
Sure. No, thank you. We appreciate you very much. Thank you.
Sure. And can I make a personal plug? If you go to Lenker Art Room on YouTube, that's where I've been posting all of my lessons.
Lanker.
She's wearing
Yeah,
the
my
shirt.
school's name is Lankerville, but I just have
Your shirt.
Lenker.
Oh,
So
see, I wasn't even looking at her shirt.
that's
Okay.
okay. That's why I wore this.
LNKR. Okay.
Lenker Art Room, all one word.
Art Room on YouTube.
Up until this year, I was only posting like 5-minute tips and tricks for other art teachers. But with this year, I've ended up with almost all of my lessons online. So you can kind of see the progression through the taping from August until now. The lessons in August were very long. And as I realized that their attention span was different than what my videos were, they get shorter and shorter, which is probably why this one was so short, because I get like the ones that were at home really only watched about the first 2 minutes and then said, oh, I get it. And then would just jump in.
Right.
But they didn't get it. You know,
yeah, they can see through it. And that happens with reading instructions too. They read the first line of instructions. I got it. And then turn around and they finish the project and they're like, you were only supposed to do step 1. Why is this finished? And why is this not finished correctly? And
yeah. I don't know how you've done it all year long online. What kind of lessons are you doing? And are you getting results?
Well, the first half of the year, we're in 2 semesters. So the first half of the year, I did mostly digital assignments, so that the kids did not freak out about not having supplies or whatever. I did, what did I do? We did color wheel assignment where I had them, you guys, have you ever heard of Grab It? It's an online app.
You spoke about it before, Steph.
Yeah, I think I have. So I had them do, actually, where is my project?
I love your display of all the work.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I actually offered them choice. They could do this with color pencil, and this was after we learned the color wheel. So each section is primary, secondary. This one is warm. This one is free choice. This is complementary, grayscale. No, this is warm. This is cool. Oh, monochromatic. That's what this one was. So I gave them a choice that they could either do it with color pencils if they had those supplies at home, or use Grab It to create the same exact design, just do it digitally. Mm-hmm. So then I had to learn Grab It.
Yeah, that's another thing we did this year.
Yeah. And then teach them Grab It and how to do it so that they had the option, to do it whichever way made them comfortable.
Are you saying grab or grab?
GRAV as in Victor, IT.
Okay, I gotta check that out. That looks interesting.
Yeah, and that's it's an online app, so it's web-based. Because we are limited in New York City. The kids can't download anything to the citywide distribution of the the tablets or laptops they were given. So everything has to be web-based.
Okay.
And free, unless they have their own devices and everything. What else did I do? I had them do digital mandalas, which I learned from someone I found online, and she did a session for us.
You were able to do that? That's great. I tried it, but it wasn't lining up perfectly. I don't know what I was doing wrong.
I did it with my 3rd through 5th graders, and some of them, some didn't do it, but some got it.
The kids loved it.
Some kids had the Google Draw, but then some kids couldn't, and that was a problem, because then I had to okay, this is how you do it in Google Draw, and this is how you do it on Jamboard, which didn't line up as well, and this is how you do on this. So that got complicated. But if
there was a workaround, because even if you have an iPad, you can access Google Draw through, I think it was it Firefox or one of the other search engines, but they were able to do it. So we did digital mandalas. I also did the digital mosaics, which went viral all over the internet, which we also have a lesson on. I think it was tacked on at the end of the digital mandalas, where we were shown how to do the mosaics as well. Then I also had them design using Canva.
How is that? I never used that.
Canva is awesome.
Yeah, I love Canva.
It's a graphic design tool for dummies, like literally it has everything on there you could ever want. All you have to do is search for the element that you want to use and plunk it into your design. I had the kids design their own logos for an imaginary business that they come up with.
That's great.
So they look professionally done. Phenomenal. I mean, I could show you some of them if you want. I could.
Yeah, you're high school, right, Steph?
Yeah, I'm high school. I could show you. Actually, I was pulling all the artwork together today because I have to do a virtual art exhibit for school this year. So let me find, where did I put the folder? You can all see my desktop is such a mess.
No, yours look great.
Now I know I made a folder today and now I can't remember what I called it and where it is. Okay, let's try it this way.
My dog is in the house, sitting at the window, barking at me in the garage, 100 feet away.
Okay.
I don't know if you can hear him.
Yeah, I do.
Sorry.
Okay, so this is a logo that one of my kids did in Canva. And
nice.
here's the digital mandala.
Oh, wow, those look so good.
Yeah, they came out phenomenal.
Oh, wow.
Another logo. This is a project one of my kids did. Here's another one. And every single one of the most amazing thing is that every single one is completely different.
Oh, that's good.
I love this. I love this logo. Oh my goodness.
Here's another one. It's a little flat, but you know, they tried. That's a poster. I love this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Canva's really easy. I really do think that's something you could do even way down into the elementaries.
Mm-hmm. This is one of the digital mosaics.
Mm.
Another logo. This is okay. Another mosaic. Poster. I had them use Google Slides to design an anti-bullying poster. I love this one. Crumbs Cookie, Brandon's Cookie Shop. This is so cute.
Mm-hmm.
See that some of them, and this one's
wow, wow.
This one was accepted into the Queensboro Arts Festival
This is beautiful.
year. Yeah,
that's
a great job.
Wow.
Here's another one. It's a little squishy, but that's okay. Another logo.
Simple. I like that.
Well, you look like you're getting, as far as my kids that were online, I really didn't get much work back from them. Or if I did, it was on a lined piece of paper that it looked like it took them about 5 minutes to draw.
The struggle is as I moved through the year, I lost a lot of kids in general across the board. But because I'm teaching only remote, that's the only way I'm teaching. So they have to do, you know, whatever I'm presenting them to do. So like I said, the first semester I did mostly digital, and then I got a lot of complaints because the kids were, half of the kids are intimidated by the technology and they don't understand it, or they don't have connections, or whatever. So the second half of the year, I went back to traditional hand-done artwork. But every single one is so representative of the individual personality, and there are no two alike, no matter what was chosen.
That's good.
And the kids loved that they got to design their own thing, especially with the logo. I told them basically pick any kind of business you can imagine. I don't care what it is. You know, the logo has to have the name of the thing and a subline underneath it that says what kind of business it is. And it has to have a visual element or a symbol or an icon representative of that. So a lot of these, what they like best is because it's digital, it looks professionally finished.
Yeah.
And then the second part of this assignment, once they did the logo, I had them using Canva again to create a flyer for their business. So they designed an informational flyer that had the logo they created in it. It's a poster. Here's another
Ooh.
beautiful mandala.
Oh. Wow, that's really nice.
And again, the mandalas and the mosaics are things that I learned through this club, which is priceless.
Yeah, absolutely. This is great.
Ton of work. Wow, they did that. Nice.
Yeah. I think the hardest part of look at this one. The hardest part of doing the mandala is that you need to set a fixed document size that's square, and then show them how to do the guidelines so that you know you're dead center, and then zoom in like 1,000,000% to the middle, and then work your way out from the center.
And that was on Google Draw?
That's in Google Draw. Yeah.
You can also do this in Google Slides, because I was doing when I was having problems initially with Google drawings, before I found out about the workaround, I was doing Google Slides.
Yep, that works too. Both of them have very similar tools. Yep.
What I like about Google Slides is that you can import the background of something and it doesn't move. That's what I like about Google Slides.
That's the only thing I hate about Google Draw is that you can't lock any element or fix the background. Yeah. But
That's
you learn
like Captain America.
The shield. But you learn these things as you go, and then you find a workaround. You know, that's
and
all.
Then hopefully when things go back to normal next year, we can do it in a different way. We don't have to learn all these tricks anymore.
No, this was a good like rehearsal.
You could still offer it digital as an option in the classroom for kids who would prefer working on the computer.
Right.
Or for kids who finish early too.
Right. Exactly.
Beautiful. Wow. Oh, look at this one. This is great.
This is very almost Native American, and then you come smiley face.
It looks like the sand paintings. Have you seen the sand paintings?
Yes, the monks, the ones that the monks do.
Yeah, I saw one down in San Antonio last time I was there. That was fantastic, but it did look a lot like that.
This looks piece-ish, but I love it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Whoa.
That's really nice.
Whoa. Wow, you got some really great work. Really great work.
I keep reminding myself of that because I had so many kids go MIA that when I look back at the work that was done, I'm so grateful for what was actually done and done well. Yeah.
So now how were you expected to grade them when they were not turning anything in? How did that show up as far as an assessment went?
Look at this one. Funny because we talked about that today in our PD. We cannot use attendance as part of their assessment.
Okay?
Right. Because it's about the mastery of the course. They can master the course if they do all the work and never show up to a single Zoom class. So that has to be considered. If the kid has never done a single piece of work ever, or communicated one way or the other to me, they're going to get, I don't know, outside of New York, but in New York, we have to give the student what's called an NX grade, which is basically an incomplete in the class. And by the end of the summer, if they haven't made up all the work, it reverts to a fail or a 0, and they have to repeat the class. So it's basically, the grade is based on participation and the work that they do. And if they don't do the work, then they can't pass the class. So, and I have kids who literally, I sent out over 100 emails individually to students this week. And there were so many that just had an grade average of 0 for this semester because they didn't do a single thing. Not a single thing.
And that was so frustrating because they would show up, at least mine would show up, and I'd say, how's it going? Oh, it's going great. Are you going to turn things in? Yeah, I'll turn it in. And then I got nothing. So
that's exactly what's happening to me. Exactly.
I failed like 7 kids this year. I've never failed kids in art. It hurts my head when I had to write an F. Like, you guys, you're killing me. What are you doing?
I have my highest failure rate in 18 years. I have about 147 kids, and I have 51 passing.
Wow.
Yeah. And it took me till I want to say till mid to end of April to get it through my soul that it is not my fault and there is nothing I can do about it, and to let that shit go, excuse me, but let's call it a wash and move on.
Yep. I don't know that I don't think I've let that go yet. Let me get my first week of vacation in, and then maybe I can let it go.
I don't have the energy to hold on to it anymore. I've done everything I can. Look, it's after a year and a half of this stuff. If you don't know what is expected of you by now,
that's true.
I should not have to chase you and your parents to get you to pass the class.
That's true.
I don't have that kind of energy. I just don't.
I follow my kids from kindergarten all the way up to 8th grade. So I've known them for 9 years. So the kid that I know can do isn't doing, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? Come on. I know what you can do. Why are you showing me this thing that looks like you drew it with your feet? I don't understand what you're doing. It has been a crazy year. I just want any kind of normal that I can get right now. And I don't know. I can't see that in the distance. So that's still kind of frustrating for me.
I know there are kids who have had justifiable catastrophes in their lives.
Oh, absolutely.
You kind of know who they are, so you're kind of more forgiving and lenient, but you also know the kids who are taking advantage of the
I don't think it's the majority. I don't really think it's the majority of the kids that had those issues. I don't think. I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but.
And there's a lot of depression with the kids too, and they've just given up because they've lost. They're isolated. They're lost. They have no routine or hands-on, comfort from teachers surrounding them, and they're just like, oh, your cat looks like mine, Lisa. And they've just given up, and they're like, I'll just repeat it next year. They like don't care that they've lost an entire year of their life. Wow. I love this one.
It's so nice. I love this one.
Awesome. This one is just phenomenal because of the direction of the tiles in the background, and then dolphin just pops because it's completely different way.
Yeah, because it's linear in the background.
Yeah, it's the subway stop, in my opinion.
It does.
I love it. I love
you
that.
They see it in the subway.
Look at the amount of work in this one. This is just insane.
Yeah, that's a lot.
This is stepped and repeated a bazillion times. Oops, what was that one? Oh, I love
a lot of these kids, don't have a Wacom tablet or even a mouse. Like, it's amazing that they're able to do this with the trackpad.
Yep.
So they're using just like laptops?
Yep. Or tablets. That's all they have. Yeah, that's all I've used also.
We have iPads from K to 2, and then we go to Chromebooks from 3 to 12th grade. So.
And that's all.
Really a nice logo. I love this.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Did they do the Art 2 stuff?
No, that's what I'm saying. They found what they wanted in the clip art portion of Canva, because they have all of these. Have you ever seen Canva?
I you know what? I haven't dabbled in it. I've heard of it.
Let me show you, because it's just so easy. If you go online, there are templates for anything and everything you would ever want to make.
Oh, okay.
Right? So you can either work on a pre-existing template or design your own. So this is the logo that I made as the sample for the logo project. So I named it, Ollie is my cat. So I named it Ollie's Art Supplies, and it has everything that I wanted them. I wanted 2 different fonts, one for the name and one for the subheading underneath it. And it had to have at least one visual element or symbol.
Got it. Yep.
So, and everything you need is here. The elements, you can just type in whatever you want.
Oh, wow.
And you have 1,000,001 things to choose from. They even have GIFs. So there's movement, there's photography. You can upload your own artwork if you have it. You can put in text, and I think you can change the words and it stays in the way it's designed. There's background patterns. I mean,
So this is like a quick project, because I need like quick projects now, like
Yeah.
little
Yep.
small
One day.
projects for the end of the
Totally.
year.
you could have them do the logo design. You could have them do a post, like a travel poster for
Oh, yeah, a trip or something. like
yeah,
that.
a place
Maybe
they've
a
always
trip.
wanted to visit.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
So this is a fantastic resource. This tool. I mean, I learned so much about technology, and some of the things are phenomenal, and other things is just too much for my brain to. Like today, they tried to shove Jamboard down my throat again. Like, how many times do I have to hear about Jamboard? Or, God, there was another one. I can't even remember the name of it. There were so many. I also learned we had Matt Young come in and show us a few Photoshop type projects.
Those are great. I don't think I'm ready for that with my kids yet. But
Yeah,
those are great.
Not yet. Next year,
Those are really interesting to watch, but I was like, I'm never going to be able to do those.
I probably would do that with 8th grade, but not my other kids. Like, I mean, I think it's definitely high school quality stuff. Definitely.
But the cool thing about that is that I was forced to find an equal, a compatible
with Photoshop,
online software, so you can use GIMP or Photopea as a Photoshop replacement.
Yeah, it's more user friendly too, I think.
Well, it's almost everything is almost exactly the same in terms of where the tools are and how they're used, but it's web based and it's free. Annoying pop-ups once in a while, but when you cannot afford Adobe Suite for your whole school, this is something that I finally discovered, and now I can teach graphic design in my class. I had problems because I couldn't get enough licenses before, so now I know how to do this. So yeah, I've learned a lot of things, positive and negative. Definitely in terms of my pedagogy and in terms of my patience level. For sure. But
that's great.
You guys have any requests for things that sessions you'd like me to run, or you want to volunteer to do one or another one or whatever? I'm happy to have a conversation with you about it at any time. I'm still trying to decide if I want to take July off and just, come back in August.
I think that would be a good idea, just for self-care.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the next topic you should have. How can we take care of ourselves after this crazy year? Try to regroup.
We should do best practices kind of end of year session, maybe. What do you think?
That would be a good idea.
Like everybody share something, or we could do like a total Zen session and do like Zen tangling and a glass of wine.
I like
there that. You go. Mine would be a beer, but that's all right.
Whatever. Whatever makes you happy. So I have one more session actually booked for next week, which is styrofoam monoprints, which should be interesting. And then after that, I don't have anything. So maybe
the year is over, so we should just do that last session of have a glass of wine and
wrapping it up session, a wrap up.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay.
A long year.
Definitely, we could do that for the 17th. Maybe I'll just do that. I'll book that. Well, ladies.
Thank you so much.
That was great.
Thank you for inviting me.
Anytime. You're on the mailing list now, so you're a hostage.
I'm good with that. I love getting ideas from everywhere. So yeah, that'd be great. That'd be great. I appreciate you guys taking the time to watch me tonight, even though it was shorter than what you're expecting.
No, that's great. Now I know an easier way to do something. That's great.
Go out and go give it a try and see what you can find, see if it works.
Will. Thank you so much. And watch for the next email for next week, and have a good, restful week. And Dawn, Here's to you and your first week of vacation. We're all with you in spirit.
I plan on sleeping in tomorrow, but I'll probably wake up 10 minutes after I normally get up anyhow. That always happens, doesn't it?
Yes. Good night, everyone.
All right,
Thank
good
you.
night.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Mahalo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm trying to leave. Let's see where it's.